This is Dr. Gigi Sabat, and you're listening to the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Christopher Salem. Welcome to the show.
Gigi, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to have you here today. Now, can you start off by telling us more about you and where are you from, Chris?
Well, I'm from the Danbury, Connecticut area, just a little over an hour from New York City, Manhattan. So I'm here in the Northeast, very rainy Northeast right now. It's been a lot of rain here. So I'm hoping Memorial Day brings in summer with some nice warm weather. And what I do, Gigi, is I'm a business acceleration strategist. I specialize in the area of creating compelling value propositions for business owners and leaders, including brands of all sizes, and helping them to reduce the number of touch points on the buyer's journey to convert more sales by truly aligning with their audience's challenges that can be better and the results they seek and don't have. It's definitely something that a lot of people are not familiar with because they lead with what they do rather than lead what's important to their audience and helping to make their challenges better and get the results they seek and don't have.
I love it. And what inspired you to do the work that you do, Chris?
Well, for me, it's always about generating results. And both in personal and professional life, I've just learned that no matter what cards you've been dealt, whether in your personal life or something happens in your business, hey, you can't control what you can't control, but what you can control is you. And that's my communication to myself and others in an assertive way, listening to my inner champion versus my inner critic. My behavior, making sure that's assertive to my communication so they don't contradict one another. My attitude, when I see challenges and obstacles and setbacks, I see them as opportunities to now learn and grow and turn them into results. And then my attitude, my emotions and how I can respond versus react to situations and other people. So even if I'm angry, I can own it, but I don't have to react from it. I can respond, and then taking massive action based upon what is, not what I think it should be, to turn those challenges into results. And I don't care, again, if it's your personal life or your business or a combination of both. Without challenges, obstacles, and seeing things for what it is, controlling what you can control, those 5 things I mentioned, it's a game changer in how you can turn your life and business in the right direction long-term to do better.
I love it. That's very true. And speaking of emotions, I recently read a book, Beyond Emotional Intelligence by Dr. Drew Gohl, and he talks about understanding the importance of understanding your emotions and what are you doing on a daily basis, but not just that, embracing those emotions and just letting it be in the present moment. And so, Chris, thanks so much for talking about emotions. Now, you also wrote a book. Let's talk a little bit more about your book. Tell us more.
Yes, the book has been out for quite some time, but it's still a book that's relevant to where people are. It's called Master Your Inner Critic, Resolve the Root Cause Prosperity. It's about a little bit about my personal journey, from being born ADHD and, growing up where, I didn't have a real strong connection to my father. I grew up, not having a lot of direction, and I was always seeking his validation. So as I became an adult, my self-limiting beliefs was this strong need for validation because I had to seek it out in others. So I became a passive aggressive. I was passive in my communication, a people pleaser because I wanted that validation from you. And then when it never lived up to your expectation, or I forgo my own plans to help you, I would get angry and I would lash back. So it talks a little bit about how our inner critic from our childhood is forged through that become self-limiting beliefs that impact everything that we do in our lives. It impacts our confidence, our self-esteem, how we make decisions, how we take calculated risks, how we take action. And by understanding more about what they are, where they come from, how we can remove them, rewire the way we think to learn how to be in the moment from operating from intentions and not in the past and the future from fear. So it allows us to be focused on what we can control, letting go of what we can't, to turn those challenges into opportunities and then results. It kind of outlines that whole process, how people can go about doing that and turning their lives and their businesses around for the better, and that they're not controlled by their self-limiting beliefs, addictions, and other things that are impacting their self-esteem and confidence.
I love it. And where can folks grab a copy of your book, Chris?
You could grab a copy either on my website at christophersalem.com. It's under books. You could go to Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. Yeah, any of those sites you could get the book. There's also an Audible version as well.
Thanks so much, Chris. And now there's a stigma associated. And so my question to you is, can an individual be successful with ADHD?
I'm a living testament of it. Yes, you can. And there are pros and cons to ADHD. The cons obviously are that you get caught up in the distractions and how we react to them. We often get overwhelmed, we get frustrated, we get very angry. And that all of those defined who I was back, my first 31 years of my life. Yet the positive signs of ADHD is that we are very creative, we're very innovative, and then if channeled correctly, we can really be very effective in creating value and better experiences for our clients and as a business leader. And those are things that I had to learn and change the way I think through emotional intelligence that saved my life over 26 years ago and turned them around my personal life and my business for the better long term.
Incredible. Thanks so much, Chris. Now, recently you spoke at the 5th annual Global Leadership Conference that we had here. And what was your biggest takeaway, Chris?
Well, my biggest takeaway from that is that, what I love about the people you bring on is that they always lead, they're always genuine. They operate from their core values. It's about, people, impacting people through their example, their resourcefulness. It's a virtual stage through other people's personal journeys and insights that by sharing through that example and being resourceful, they're empowering everyone who's listening to maybe for the first time own their struggle and now do something about it. They feel like they have a resource or a group that they can lean on to do that. They're not dependent, because we're not here to make you dependent. We're here to push you out of the nest, but to take that first step, knowing that embracing the struggle, embracing this challenge would be the best step that you could ever make to turn your life and career around.
I love it. Embrace it. And now you are also a wellness advocate. What inspired you to become a wellness advocate, Chris?
Well, a wellness advocate is not, if people just apply and think that's just for physical wellness. It's really all of the above. It's the 8 pillars of wellness. I'm a big believer that to have a fulfilling, prosperous life, we have to have harmony. You notice I didn't use balance, because balance is very exhausting. It kind of aligns with perfectionism. We're never going to be perfectly balanced on a seesaw on its axis point. That would require an enormous amount of energy. That's draining. But if I strive for harmony, meaning that I strive to be a better communicator with myself and then other people. Social wellness, I can learn now to be more assertive in my relationships with other people, starting with myself. Physical wellness, making sure that I eat foods that are going to be neutrally dense to serve the body, that allows me to move and give me the energy to do the things that impact other people. Number 3 is emotional well-being through emotional intelligence, learning how to operate from my inner champion, not my inner critic, and now how I can learn to adapt to what is, not what I think it should be, and learning to be intentional with what I control and letting go of what I can't, that's tied to expectations to outcomes. My financial wellness, learning to operate from abundance and prosperity, not scarcity and the lack of. My occupational wellness, finding the purpose in why I do what I do to create impact. We can all find purpose one way or another in why and what we do, no matter, even if you're not in your dream business or dream job. Intellectual intelligence. I got to know if I'm going to be more innovative and creative. I got to think in the moment. Meditation and journaling, doing my daily routine to keep my mind sharp, sleeping enough, recharging my battery, doing puzzles, trivia, things that are going to keep my mind sharp in alignment with my physical well-being. And then finally is environmental wellness. No, not what's going on in the environment, but where you live, in your car, in your workspace. Is it organized or is it cluttered? I'm not talking about ultra organized, but as long as that I have organization in my workspace, in my car, in my living where I live, that's where I spend most of my time. there's going to be more clarity up here, less clutter. So when we can find harmony with the 8 pillars of wellness, that's how I live my life. I'm the example of that, and I'm resourceful to help people. And I interweave that into all my coaching, consulting, strategy that I do, both on a professional and personal level when working with individuals and teams.
I love it. And now you've faced business challenges along the way. What message do you have for an individual who may be facing a business challenge today?
I know it's not easy. Don't sweat the small stuff. But as long as you continue to fight it, it's just going to make it more complicated. You're going to end up suffering more. Just see it for what it is. Focus on what you can control. Let go of what you can. And the only thing you can control is you, your communication to yourself and others assertively versus passive aggressive, or both. Your behavior, making sure it's in alignment with your communication, not contradicting it. Assertive rather than passive aggressive. An attitude of gratitude. It's happening for you, not to you. Embrace the challenge. See it as an opportunity. I mean, look at anything you've accomplished in your life or your business. Did it happen because everything went right? No, you went through a series of challenges, doubts, even perhaps contemplating that I'm going to quit, but you stuck with it. And soon enough, you turned it around to generate that success. Your emotions and how you respond versus react to situations and other people beyond your control. And then it's your action, being focused on the priorities that truly matter, not being busy and not productive, but focusing on the things that are going to move the needle forward. Those are often the things that are challenging, uncomfortable, but you got to be uncomfortable to become successful going forward. That's what I would advise. Trust the process, focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't control.
I love it. Trust the process. Very powerful. Now, Chris, do you have any last words for the audience?
I would just say that, I always like to leave, the audience with a slogan that I came up with several years ago. I've lived my life by it. And when I share it with you, I challenge you not to just say, that sounds really cool. I like that statement. Let it absorb in and now begin to be it. Begin to think differently around it, be it, to become it, then do things differently to have different and better results. Give without expectation. You're doing that to other people without pleasing and enabling, but you're doing it through empathy, kindness, and being resourceful. You're being the example, allowing them to do for themselves. So give without expectation, give it. And then when it comes back around from somewhere else, if it serves you personally and professionally, receive without resistance. As you recharge your batteries, refill your cup, you can spill onto others and repeat the process. Give without expectation, receive without resistance. Watch when you put that to work each and every day, no matter what challenge you're going through over time. Trust the process with it. You will see the fruits of that statement working in your life, in your business. It has not failed me in the 26 years that I've been doing it, because you were talking to a former passive aggressive, a former pessimist, a former person that deflected how he felt onto others, saw the world and life happening to me. I was the victim using excuses. I medicated through several addictions, and I constantly caught up in the symptoms of my ADHD. You can do it if I can do it.
That's very true. You need to be able to receive. Very powerful. And Chris, thanks again so much for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast, and as well as the 5th Annual Global Leadership Conference that we had this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having the 6th Annual Global Leadership Conference in 2026. It's an event you do not want to miss, and we look forward to seeing you there. Chris, where can the audience find you?
Well, it's always best to connect on LinkedIn. I love connecting on LinkedIn. I have 2 emails, chris@christophersalem.com. That's my subject matter expert speaker website email, christophersalem.com, or my business website, sustainablesuccess.net, or chris@sustainablesuccess.net. Either way, love to connect and get to know you and share.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Chris on all of his social media platforms and also his website. That's firstnamelastname.com, ChristopherSalem.com. And Christopher, thank you again so much for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Gigi, as always, for having me on.
Welcome. God bless.